The relaxation of the planning laws is presenting conveyancers with, I think, unfamiliar issues when they act for a buyer who's purchasing a flat or a dwelling in a property that was formerly something else. So, a commercial building, perhaps a pub or an office or whatever. And of course, as ever, and as I find myself saying in every single training session that I deliver, really, anything new to a conveyancer, of course, represents risk. And what I'm hoping to achieve in this webinar is to cover some of the things you need to be sort of recognising and looking out for in these sorts of scenarios, particularly if they are unfamiliar to you. So I am going to have a think about finding out about the former use. I'm going to recap on a couple of things first. I shall think about finding out about the former use. We will think about planning documents, additional inquiries, lender requirements, and curiously, new build warranties. You perhaps wouldn't have thought they were relevant, but they may be very relevant indeed. Certain types and size of rear and upward extension require the developer to apply for prior approval before commencing development, so always worth watching out for that. To creating dwellings, the government has widened the scope of permitted development rights so that new dwellings, as we will see, can be created from a variety of non-residential uses, or indeed can add additional stories onto existing buildings. So what additional inquiries should you raise? Well, issues such as the date that the property was first built, whether the property has been altered or extended, and if so, when was it made, particularly if in the last 4 years. If the property's leasehold, then you'd need to check the lease as well. Obviously, the use of the property and whether there's been any material change of use in the last 10 years, and if so, when. And that's significant because a material change of use without planning permission, the enforcement period is 10 years. Of course, have any alterations been made in the last 12 months? Because we've obviously got building regulation consent issues as well, which are beyond the scope of this webinar. And as I've already mentioned, is the property a listed building or in a conservation area? And of course, those should be indicated on the PIF if a PIF is supplied, or maybe other sort of standard inquiries, and confirmed by your local search.